Sir Christopher Nolan's foray into the timeless realm of Greek mythology with his adaptation of the Odyssey is not a sudden epiphany but the ripening of seeds sown decades ago. The 55-year-old auteur, whose filmography, from the cerebral twists of Memento to the atomic reckonings of Oppenheimer, has redefined blockbuster storytelling, reveals a fascination with Homer's epic that predates his Hollywood ascent. Long before committing to helm this ambitious retelling, Nolan eyed another cornerstone of ancient lore, the Trojan War, nearly stepping into the director's chair for Troy. That 2004 epic, ultimately guided by Wolfgang Petersen's steady hand and starring Brad Pitt as the brooding Achilles, represented a path Nolan once tread, only to diverge when studio tides shifted. Wolfgang had developed it, and so when the studio decided not to proceed with his superhero movie, Batman vs. Superman, he wanted it back. Fair enough, Nolan reflects, his tone laced with professional respect rather than regret. This near miss with Troy ignited a dormant passion, keeping the mythic world at the back of my mind for a very long time. Nolan's imagination fixated on visceral details, the creak of wooden siege engines under moonlight, the thunder of hooves as the Trojan horse breached walls, the interplay of shadow and firelight on armored faces. These weren't abstract concepts but cinematic obsessions, demanding innovative techniques to convey scale and intimacy. His early brush with Greek tales traces back to childhood innocence. A school play of Ulysses, the Roman echo of Odysseus, witnessed at age 5 or 6. The older student's portrayal of sirens luring sailors to doom, Odysseus lashed to the mast amid crashing waves, left indelible imprints. That's barely a conscious memory, he admits, yet it seeded a lifelong intrigue bubbling up in subtle ways across his oeuvre. From the temporal loops of Inception mirroring the cyclopean disorientation of Polyphemus's cave to the moral ambiguities in The Dark Knight echoing the god's capricious whims, Nolan's films pulse with Odyssean undercurrents. At its essence, the Odyssey for Nolan is an excavation of universal archetypes. I think it's in all of us really, he muses, unpacking how Homer's narrative threads through modern cinema. The hero's labyrinthine voyage home, beset by monsters, tempests and temptations, mirrors the human odyssey through loss, resilience and reinvention. Adapting it meant dissecting the text layer by layer, unearthing resonances with his past works. The unyielding quest in Interstellar's cosmic voids, the fractured psyches in Tenet's inverted timelines. Nolan's process is famously analog, shunning digital shortcuts for the tactile poetry of film. On the Odyssey, this manifested in over 2 million feet of film, a staggering volume that speaks to his commitment to authenticity. The production spanned 4 immersive months on location, plunging the cast. Robert Pattinson as a brooding Odysseus, Zendaya as the enigmatic Circe, alongside Mia Goth, Jon Bernthal, Charlize Theron and Hathaway and Elliot Page, into elemental fury. These weren't green screen simulations but raw encounters with nature's indifference. The ensemble portraying Odysseus's crew faced real waves in the real places, Nolan recounts, evoking the peril of ancient mariners charting unmapped seas. Vast and terrifying, the Mediterranean's moods shifted from benevolent calms to wrathful gales, mirroring the epic's themes of hubris and humility. Capturing this required a leap of faith akin to Odysseus's own, ditching CGI crutches for practical effects that grounded the supernatural in sweat and salt. Nolan aimed to capture how hard those journeys would have been for people, emphasizing the physical toll, the blistered hands gripping oars, the vertigo of storm-tossed decks, the bone-deep fatigue after outwitting Scylla and Charybdis. The result is a film that doesn't just retell a myth but resurrects its primal terror and wonder, inviting viewers to feel the spray of Poseidon's rage. Nolan's mythic dalliance underscores his evolution as a storyteller. Early flirtations with Troy honed his eye for spectacle, envisioning the horse not as a prop but a character, its hollow belly a metaphor for deception's fragility. Though Petersen claimed the helm, Nolan carried those embers, stoking them through intervening decades. His interest burgeoned organically, devouring translations of Homer in quiet hours, sketching storyboards that fused antique lore with quantum mechanics. The Odyssey thus becomes a capstone, blending his signature nonlinear puzzles with linear heroism. Flashbacks to Troy's fall intercut with Odysseus's wanderings, perhaps revealing how one war's ashes fuel another's trials. The ensemble's diversity adds fresh lenses. Theron's Athena as a steely mentor, Page's Telemachus grappling with absent father voids, infusing antiquity with contemporary echoes of identity and exile. Challenges abounded in this Herculean endeavor. Coordinating a cast of heavyweights across rugged terrains tested logistical wizardry, while Nolan's IMAX ambitions demanded custom rigs to film churning seas without distortion. Yet, these hurdles amplified the film's benevolence, as Nolan terms it. Moments of transcendent beauty, like dawn breaking over Ithaca's shores, symbolizing homecoming's quiet ache. For Nolan, the project is personal, a dialogue with boyhood wonder, a bridge between ancient verse and silver screen. And when you start to break down the text and adapt it, you find that all of these other films, and all the films I've worked on, they're all from the Odyssey, he illuminates, tracing his canon back to this source spring.